There are 3 questions you need to ask yourself before you start planning your next visit to the Walt Disney World Resort. That's the story this week. Welcome back to the Bear's Den. My name is Chris, and on this channel, you are going to get weekly stories to help you with your next Walt Disney World visit. So if you're new here, consider subscribing, and let's get into the story this week. Today is a magical day here in the Bear's Den because, well, it's Magic Kingdom Day. I am heading over to the Magic Kingdom to enjoy some things and to talk about those 3 questions that you need to ask yourself before your first visit or your next visit to the Walt Disney World Resort. But first things first is we got to get to the Magic Kingdom, and I want to get there as quickly as possible. Car, I'd have to drive, and that'll take, time, and then you got to park and ferry boat. That's going to take a little while. I could Uber or Lyft, but that's the same as a car. There's no monorail that goes from my... Wait. That's right. Hold on. Disney just put into the My Disney Experience app, they just put in a new teleportation feature, which is basically... You click it if you have a park reservation for the day, which I do, and you have a ticket for the day, which I do. You can click the teleportation, and it teleports you right to the park that you have a reservation for that day. So let's make sure I've got everything I need. Backpack, check. Phone, wallet, keys to get into the apartment. Cool. Put those in the pocket. Of course, if we're going to end up inside of the park, we want to mask up. So we're going to mask up. All right, let's see how this goes. Ready? That didn't work, huh? Am I doing something wrong? See, click here, click there, and... Magic Kingdom! It worked! Oh, hey, Mickey Pretzel. Well, I don't know if it's a teleport thing or if it's just hotter than I thought it was. But let me tell you, I've been in Magic Kingdom like 5 minutes. I am sweating. So what are those 3 questions that you need to answer when you're first starting to plan your first Walt Disney World visit or even your next Walt Disney World visit? So before we actually get into this, 3 things. First, I want you to remember something. There is no actual right answer to these questions. There are only the right answers for you and your visit. Remember, this is your trip to Walt Disney World, and everyone's answers to these questions are going to be different. So make sure that you choose the right answer for your visit. Second, these questions are going to be the same whether you're visiting now with all of the social distancing precautions in place or if you're going to be visiting in the future. Third, and finally, I'm going to share a secret at the end of this video with you as to why the answer to these questions are so important to help you plan your first or your next Walt Disney World visit. Now let's actually get into these questions. So the first question that you are going to need to answer is, where are you staying? Now there are a lot of options for you to answer this question with, but it really comes down to 2 choices. Are you going to stay at a Walt Disney World resort on property, or are you going to stay at a resort off Walt Disney World property? Now if you want some specific help with this question, I have a video all about the pros and cons, the benefits and the advantages, the disadvantages about staying on property versus off property. You can find that linked in the YouTube card up above. But there is going to be a major difference between staying at a Walt Disney World resort on property versus a resort that is just off property. Now again, there are pros and cons to both, which you can check out in the video that I linked up above. But the biggest difference is the effect that your answer to question number 1 is going to have on your answer to question number 2. I don't care what anybody says. Greatest attraction in the history of Disney attractions. Who needs Rise of the Resistance when you've got Carousel of Progress? Question number 2 that you need to answer when you're planning your next Walt Disney World visit is, how are you getting places? Now, if you didn't know, Walt Disney World is made up of 4 different theme parks, 2 water parks, 26-ish, almost 30 resorts, and Disney Springs, which is like a downtown shopping area, and all of that is spread across 27,000 acres. Your options for transportation are going to be different whether you're staying on property at a Walt Disney World resort or just off property. The reason why question 1 affects question 2 so much is because if you're staying on property at the Walt Disney World resort, you have the option for the free transportation right from your resort, such as the bus service, or depending on the resort that you're staying at, something like the monorail, a boat service, or even the Disney Skyline. If you're staying on property, you can also always use one of the paid services like Uber or Lyft or the taxi services. But if you're staying off property, then these are really your only options to get anywhere at Walt Disney World unless you have your own car. So in the end, just know how you're getting places. So Magic Kingdom is warmer than I expected it to be today. It's a bit more crowded than I expected it to be today. And it reminds me why I don't come to Magic Kingdom that much to make these videos. Question number 3, and in my opinion, the most important question when coming to Walt Disney World is, where are you gonna eat? Now I get it. You may think that you're coming to Disney World for the attractions like Pirates of the Caribbean or Jungle Cruise, or to meet the characters, or if you're of age, drink your way around Epcot. But let me let you know something. What you're actually here for is the food. Let me tell you why the food that you eat at Walt Disney World is so important. When I first started visiting Walt Disney World myself, I really didn't know how to budget my money, and so I just figured I was going to eat whatever was cheapest at the parks. And this was a big mistake, not because you can't get delicious options at the quick service restaurants, but because eating quick service meals every single day, all day, and then walking miles, like literal miles, through the theme parks is going to make you feel like crap. The next reason that this is such an important question to answer is because the better restaurants, the ones that everybody wants to eat at, are going to book up with reservations well in advance. So you want to make sure that you know which restaurants you want to eat in so that you can try to get those reservations as early as possible before your trip. Finally, where you are going to eat is going to affect what you're going to be doing in the park, or vice versa. You want to plan your meals close to the things that you're planning to do in the park, or plan what you're doing in the park close to where you're planning to have your meals. So now it is time for me to share with you that secret that I was mentioning about why these questions are so important to answer first when you're planning your next visit to Walt Disney World. Time. Your trip to the Walt Disney World Resort all comes down to the time that you have, and the decisions that you make when answering these 3 questions are going to seriously affect the time that you have in the parks to relax, at restaurants, and doing the things that you want to do while visiting Walt Disney World. You are only here for a limited amount of time, and you need to make the most of it. Answering these 3 questions is going to help you do just that. If you like this video. If you want to see more videos just like this one, subscribe and click that bell to get notified every time there's a new upload. And remember, there's a great big beautiful tomorrow.